Show. It's the Barbara Show. Coming your way with a smile today. Down the humorous path with a lark and a laugh. It's the Barbara Show. The Barbara Show. Welcome to Humorous Adventures with Barbara.
Well, welcome to the Humorous Adventures with Barbara. Today my topic is about cruises. I love cruises. I love cruises because the minute you step on that ship, there's no responsibility. You don't have to think about where you're going to get food. You don't have to drive a car. And you can just go on the top of the deck, the Lido deck, sit by the pool, get some sun. Just love it. Now, one year, my company told me that I had extra vacation days and I couldn't carry them over to the following year. So either I used these vacation days right away or I'd lose them. So none of my friends, because they had jobs, could change their plans last minute. But guess who could? My mother. And I thought, wow, this is going to be a great mother and daughter bonding experience. We're going to go on a cruise together to Puerto Vallarta, Cabo San Lucas, and Mazatlan. So, and as a matter of fact, that's where this shirt originated. What do you think? Love this shirt. I love it so much that I got one for me, I got one for my mother, and I got one for my sister-in-law. I don't have a picture of that one anymore, but I kind of did the same thing with some other shirts. Then I'll show you it at another show. So once we got on the ship, the first thing that the ship people want you to do is make sure you know where the fire drill and the boats are in case you have to get emergency off and get your life preservers. So they do a drill right away, and me and my mother go up to the top deck. And for whatever reason, I had a little difficult time getting my life preserver on. I guess initially I put it on inside out and backwards. And there happened to be these firemen that were also vacationing on the ship, and they came over and fixed me up. So as it turned out, my mother met a guy her age, because my father had since passed away. And so she met a guy her age to bop around with. And I ended up with a team of firemen. So my mother and I would share a room, and we'd have meals together and went on some excursions together. For the most part, though, morning would come, my mother would go to breakfast with her friend, and I'd go with the team of the firemen. But my mother and I did do we did bonding, maximum bonding time. So another thing that happened on the cruise, while I was with these firemen, I think one of the stops was Mazatlan. So I was with the firemen, and we went to this bar in Mazatlan, and we're dancing and, being a little crazy, and had some drinks. And this one long drink, I think it was like pina colada. And while you're drinking it, once you get close to the bottom, it says, warning. Some people may look more attractive than they actually are. Anyway, at a certain point, the firemen, I was dancing, but I wasn't dancing because they were, carrying me around. When my mother's friends, a whole group of people that my mother was hanging around with, came in, and we all were, just yucking it up. Another stop, I think, was Aruba, on another cruise, and I was with 5 friends, and we met a bunch of guys who wanted to rent Jeeps, and I went on a Jeep with this guy I didn't even know, and he is cruising all over the sand dunes. I mean, I had my heart in my mouth because I'm thinking to myself, I don't even know this guy. He's driving like a maniac, but in the end, I did survive, and it was a lot of fun. Now, I had set up what I thought was going to be a great first-class trip. And the reason it was a first-class trip is, I travel a lot and I can keep my own points. So, in a lot of cases, if I buy an economy ticket, I can upgrade myself to first class with my points. And I decided to use these points to go on another cruise with friends, and the cruise ship was going to depart from Miami. To make sure that I was there on time, my plan, as I was the only one from California of the five of us, was to fly the night before, get into a hotel, be in Miami, and then make sure we're on the ship by noon. It was about February. It was President's Day weekend, actually. I remember that because we would have never picked President's Day weekend. We could have picked any weekend, but it was just booked that time. And crowds of people travel on that weekend because the kids are off. But to complicate matters, I was flying from San Francisco, and the weather was horrible. It was raining, it was foggy. There were cancellations. So here I am. I always go to the airport early. I had checked my bag, and now we're hearing cancellation after cancellation, and my first class trip is now going into the toilet because some planes are overbooked because of the cancellations, and I'm sitting there and I have no idea, but I need to get to Miami. I just need to get to Miami before noon the next day. That's all I need to do. Finally, after waiting in line, they give me a connection to go from San Francisco to LA, and then I have a layover for about 8 hours to get a red eye and be in the middle seat. So my first class trip, okay, yeah, this is happening. But again, I'm determined I have to get to Miami before noon the next day. I finally land at about 5 in the morning, the day the ship's supposed to depart on a Sunday, and my bag had taken a totally different trip. But they said, don't worry, your bag's gonna be held, don't worry. Once you land, talk to the bag guy, he'll point you to where the bag is. So 5 in the morning, we land, and the minute we get off the plane, like I said, it was winter time in San Francisco, and now in Miami, it's like 100 degrees and 100% humidity, and I'm looking for where the bellman is with my bag, and nowhere. So I'm walking, and there's nobody around. It's 5 in the morning, but I'll try. I was walking, and oh yeah, there's a luggage container thing way down there. I just had to find the bag. If I couldn't find the bag, what good is it? I wouldn't have anything to wear. And I'm walking, and finally I find where all the luggage is being contained. There's no one there. I open up the door, and there are bags just all over the place. And I thought to myself, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to find my bag in this? But you know what? I did. I found it. So I get the bag out, and I thought, oh, I'll just go out of the airport right here, get a taxi. Oh no, you couldn't get out that way. So I'm trudging, and I'm hot, and I finally have an exit where I get a taxi to take me to the hotel. I get to the hotel, and I say my name because I have a reservation there, and they said, no, we don't have your name. Now, I know my friend had booked us in a group. I didn't know the group, but she did. So I'm trying to give them any paperwork, and he's saying, no, I don't know who you are. I don't have your friend in here either. So my cell phone I had drained because I had nothing better to do in LA but call all the people I knew, and I drained my battery. So I had to find my cell phone and then plug it in while I'm in the lobby to get enough juice to call my friend because she's in the room. I know she had to have checked in. I wake her up and I ask her, what room are you in? And she tells me, and I tell him just to give me the key to that room. So I get my bag and I hit the elevator and I go up and I open the door, and it's really dark because, it's about 6 in the morning and then the shades were pulled. And I'm walking into the room. And as I walk in, you know that sound, the click when the door shuts behind you? And I see 2 beds, which is good because there should be a bed for me and a bed for her. But then I see that there are people in both beds. And I'm like, this is not good. So as I'm trying to run the hell out, one of the women in one of the beds sits up and goes, "Who are you? Get out of here." And I get out of there as soon as I can, and I go back down the lobby, and I say to the front desk guy, "You gave me a key to the wrong room. What are you, crazy?" So I call my friend again, and I said, "Tell him again what room you're in, because I just went up to the wrong room." She tells him, I'm not really thrilled to get up there, but gives me another key, and I go up there, and it's her. So I have enough time maybe to take a nap for a couple of hours, and now it's time to get ready to go to the cruise ship. We go downstairs in the lobby, and there are a whole bunch of people down there wanting to go to the ship at the same time, and that woman who was down in the lobby said, "It's her! She's the one who came in our room." And I'm like, turned out the group that my friend knew that we got a good rate for this cruise, they were all policemen. And she actually had a gun under her pillow. I could have been shot. But I lived to tell the tale. And what can I say? It wasn't what I thought was a first-class trip, but boy, did I have a great time. Well, growing up in Boston, you never knew when the sun was going to be out. So if it was a sunny day, we'd make time to just lay out on the beach. Because in Boston, it could rain in the summer. You just didn't know what the weather pattern was going to be. I happened to be a lot fairer skinned than my 4 friends, so I had to be careful. I had to make sure I had sunscreen on. I learned after a few times being fried that I can't just put baby oil on myself and expect my skin to be okay. And during college breaks from Boston to Florida, we would lay in the sun. We really didn't know much about, skin cancer or anything, but I made sure I had a lot of sunscreen. I still got red. But one time I was meeting my friends for a cruise, my high school friends, and we were at the ship. We were on top of the Lido deck in our bathing suits, decked out, when I realized, oh, I forgot my suntan lotion. So I asked one of my friends for some suntan lotion. And I'm lathering all up and everything. But later that night, my ankle was bothering me, and I started looking at it. And as the night wore on, this blister kept growing and growing until it was the size of a golf ball. How embarrassing. Here I am supposed to be meeting guys, and I'm like, have a golf ball blister. People were saying, "Oh, you should stab it." I'm like, get away from me, no. So for the whole cruise, I'm walking around with a golf ball blister. I said to my friend, "Didn't you give me sunscreen?" She goes, "Oh, well, I just use baby oil." I'm like, baby oil? I was ready to kill her. Thank you for joining me on the Humorous Adventures with Barbara.
It's the Barbara Show. It's the Barbara Show. Coming your way with a smile today. Down the